Last episode, we talked about the lies that you told yourself. And now, this episode, we're going to the real problem underneath those lies. Today, we're addressing why you don't trust yourself anymore. And how do you overcome that? How do you get past all of these lies that you have told yourself and promises that you've broken yourself over and over and over again? Because that is why you are stuck. And we're going to fix that today because we're rebuilding trust with yourself, one kept promise at a time. Let's get to it. Hey, welcome back to Fire and Iron Show. My name is Reggie, and I am so glad that you have chosen to join us today. Now, this is episode 9. If you have not heard episode 8, go back and listen to it. We talk about the 5 lies that you have told yourself, and we went over what's called the accountability mirror. If you've never read David Goggins' book, Can't Hurt Me, go check that out. It talks about the accountability mirror. Go check out that episode. Our link, Fire Iron Show, fireironshow.com. All of our social handles are Fire Iron Show. So make sure you go check that out. Now, today we are building upon that. We are building onto it. So this is part 2, and this is the practical part. This is the how do I do this part, right? Because we exposed the problem. And the problem is you keep lying to yourself. But how do you fix that? How do you go about by building your trust up again? And that's what we're going to talk about today. Talk about the exact system that I've used, the exact system that I use to coach other men about is using the system that we're going to talk about, because it's not theory. It's extremely tactical, and it is step by step, and we're going to dive into that. 30 days, you can be a different person. You can have a different mindset in 30 days. You can have a different game plan and outlook on life in 30 days if you follow the system and you trust it. Now, before we get into this, you have to understand that this didn't happen overnight. You not trusting yourself didn't happen overnight. It has been years and years of broken trust, broken promises with yourself, both out loud that the public and all the world can see, and also the inner ones that you told yourself that you were never going to do again, but you ended up doing it. Whether it's drinking, whether it's thinking the thoughts that you've got, or addiction to porn, or whatever it may be, maybe going to the gym. All of those little micro promises that you made to yourself and you broke them. How do we get that back? Because here's how it starts, right? This is very typical, especially this time of the year, January timeframe. You get motivated. New year, new you, right? You watch a video, you read a book, you see a picture of yourself, and you're like, man, I've really let myself go. Do I really look like that? Or did the camera add like 20 pounds? Because good God, where did that second chin come from, right? And you decide, that's it, I'm done. I'm really going to change. You know what? I'm going to lose that 20 pounds. I'm going to lose that 30 pounds. I'm going to get up at 5 a.m. every day. I'm going to stop drinking. I'm going to start building my business. I am going to go all in. And you go all in, this big, bold, brash move, and you start hitting the gym, and you start going, You're eating clean, you're being good, and you think, that's it, I've changed, life is good. But then what? Life gets hard, right? A kid gets sick. Something happens with work. You have a bad week. You get tired. You're stressed, and suddenly you miss a day. And it's not fun anymore. It's not fun anymore to go to the gym because you've hit that plateau. That initial weight that you've burned off, you've plateaued at the same weight. The book isn't just as interesting anymore. And now you're in the grind of it. And you're like, I've been doing this good for a week, 2 weeks. I deserve a break. I'm going to take a day off. I'm going to take my foot off the gas a minute, and I'm just going to take a day off. And then that one day turns into 2 days because, well, the game was on late last night and I couldn't get up early this morning and I couldn't read my book. And, oh man, just work's been crazy. I couldn't spend time with my kids. I couldn't get to the gym or whatever it may be. And it gets, 2 days turns into a week, which turns into 2 weeks, which turns into a month. And then you look up and it's 6 months later and you haven't been to the gym. You haven't picked up the book. You haven't done anything to get to what those promises were that you were after. And your subconscious, it registers that. Nope. He said he'd do it, but he didn't. Surprise, surprise. I guess his word doesn't mean anything. And the next time, you hit another point about halfway through the year and you're like, that's it. I'm going to do it this time. I'm serious. And that little subconscious, that voice in your head's like, yeah, sure. Hey, we'll see. You said the same thing last time too, buddy. Right? I'm not the only one that has experienced this, that has those same voices in your head. I'm sure you do too, because that voice gets louder every single time that you quit. Every time that you quit, it gets louder and louder and louder. And eventually, you don't even believe yourself anymore. And you just feel like you're stuck. You feel like there's nothing I can do. This is just the way life's going to be. And I'm telling you right now, that could not be further from the truth. You have the power. Let's give you that power. That's what this episode is all about. So the problem is not motivation. It's not discipline. It's not even willpower. The problem is you have a track record of breaking promises to yourself and your brain knows it. That is the problem, and we're going to rewrite that. Because right now, when you say, I'm going to start Monday, that meme that's like, no, you're not. No, you're not. That's what your mind's saying. No, you're not starting on Monday. You know that. That is the biggest load of crap ever. So don't say that. You've trained yourself not to trust yourself with all these lies that you've told yourself over and over and over. You see, the problem a lot of times with guys like David Goggins or Jocko and all those, they are so intense and they're so extreme. They try to go from, they're like, oh, I'm going to be like him. I'm going to do that. Dude, you're going from 0 to 100. There's no way you can do that. You're going to get up at 4:30 in the morning and run, 10 miles and take a cold shower and, read and eat clean and do all that stuff. Yeah, maybe for 3 days. You have got to set yourself up to win. And that's what we're after. We're not going from 0 to 100. We're going from 0 to 1. And 1 maybe to 3. And 3 to maybe 4 or 5. These are the steps that were taken, micro steps, brick by brick, one kept promise at a time. And that's what this is all about. Start small so you get some wins, you get momentum, you get some confidence, you get that mojo back. Instead of going from 0, not running at all, to holy cow, now we're running 10 miles through the rain and snow and sleet and all the other stuff like David Goggins, we're not there. Don't do that to yourself. So here's how it's going to work. Week 1, okay? We're going to call this the Fire and Iron 7-Day Micro Promise Protocol. That's a fancy name, all right? 7 days, we're going to make micro promise to yourself to help rebuild that trust, to prove to yourself that you can do this, to prove that you actually followed through on that. And once you can start to see these improvements and see these micro promises, you can start building on that and you can start having confidence. So week 1 is all about one promise, not 5, not 3, 1. And it has to be so small that it almost seems like it's impossible to fail. Okay. I'm like crazy, stupid small. Okay. We are setting the bar low with this one. Trust the process. Okay. I know what you're thinking. I think the same thing because the reason we do this is because we need to see wins, right? You are 0 for the century on kept promises. We have got to get some W's in the win column here. We have got to get some wins going. So we are going to prove to ourselves for 7 days straight. Then you can start believing that. Okay. So what am I talking about? Rule number 1, it takes less than 5 minutes to do. Okay. Less than 5 minutes out of a 24-hour a day. Can you do something for 5 minutes to build your trust back? I'm not talking about going to the gym for an hour. I'm not talking about, being crazy, reading a book a week or something wild. I'm talking about doing 10 push-ups before you get a cup of coffee. Rule number 2, you've got to do it every single day. We're not taking days off. We're every single day, 7 days straight. We are getting wins. We're creating these micro promises and we're following through. Number 3, it's got to be non-negotiable. You have to do it no matter what. In that day, from sunup to sundown or whatever, 12 a.m. to 11:59 p.m., you have to complete that task. I don't care that you're tired. I don't care that you're sick. I don't care that you're traveling. I don't care that you have kids that week and you're going from here to there and back and forth. Wake up a little bit earlier. It takes less than 5 minutes. You cannot find 5 minutes in your day to complete this. That's, again, another excuse. Stop making excuses and make it happen. You cannot... last one, you cannot add anything unless week 1 is complete. This is critical because your brain's going to be like, this is so easy. This is babies. This is so easy. What are we doing here? Don't worry about it, brain. You tell your brain what to think. You are in charge. Don't let your brain trick you. Don't let your brain think that, oh, this is so dumb. This is... Why are we doing 5 push-ups, 10 push-ups before coffee? What is that going to do for us? It's called winning. It's called trusting yourself, committing to something and following through. So here's some good examples. Maybe you make your bed every morning. Maybe you do 10 push-ups before you get your coffee. Maybe you do a 1-minute plank right when you get up. Maybe you drink 16 ounces of water before you drink coffee or, an energy drink or anything like that. Maybe you work on your mental game and you read 5 pages before you go to bed or, when you first wake up. Maybe you don't have your phone for the first 30 minutes after you wake up because you don't want to be scrolling. You don't want to have all that mental angst from email and social media in your face when you first wake up. Maybe you have 2 minutes of silence or prayer, meditation. Maybe you want to grow your relationship with your kids and you send them one encouraging text every day. A little quote, a little, I love you, a little, I believe in you, I'm proud of you. Maybe a funny joke or whatever too. I don't know, but make that connection. Maybe you compliment someone. Maybe you write down your priorities or take 5 minutes to focus on some work projects that you've been wanting to get done. But just pick one. Those are some examples. Just pick one and do it. No more than 5 minutes and follow those other rules. Don't pick them because I've said them. Pick something that's important to you. Now, this is why it works, okay? Because you've got to think about the psychology of this whole 7 days. Because the first day you do it, you say, okay, I said I was going to do it, and I actually did it. Cool. Small win. All right, cool. Then day 2 comes around. Okay, I did it yesterday. Now I'm going to knock out, let's just say push-ups. I'm going to knock out 10 push-ups, and I do it again. Another win. Day 3. Okay, now we're starting to build a little momentum. Now it's starting to become a thing. Right? Day 4, I haven't missed it yet. I want to keep this going. I said I'm going to do this. This is what we're doing. Day 6 and 7, I'm actually doing this. I'm actually doing what I said I'm going to do. And I've proven to myself that I can start moving forward. And this is the foundation that you need to build that trust, and that foundation to build the building of who you want to be, the man that you deserve to be, the man that your wife and your kids deserve to see and to be around. It starts with these micro wins. Okay? Let's kick it up a notch. Let's go to, week 2. After you've gone through those 7 days, let's keep that original promise and add one more. So maybe it's, I'm going to do 10 push-ups and I'm going to have 5 minutes of meditation, silence, prayer, reflection, whatever it may be. And you do that. And now you're doing 2 micro promises to yourself every single day. And if you break a day, just like, if you've been a part of 75 Hard and all that stuff, you go back to week 1. You miss a day, go back to week 1 and start rebuilding again. You want to grow your self-respect? Do that. Be respectful enough to yourself to call yourself out and say, I didn't do it. So therefore, back to day 1, back to week 1, start over. That is what we're after. All right? So week 3, you keep the promises, but you add maybe difficulty to one. Okay? Whether it's, hey, I'm instead of 10 push-ups that I've been doing for 2 weeks, now I do 20 push-ups. Maybe instead of 5 pages of reading, now I do 10 pages. Maybe instead of a 1-minute plank, now I do 2 minutes of plank. Right? It's a little tough on the bedside. Because if you make your bed, you can't double make your bed. So that'd be kind of weird. But just choose something that you can up the ante a little bit, up the intensity a little bit, the difficulty, and keep that consistent 7 days, 7 days, 7 days. We're not missing a day, because you can keep your word even when things get harder. Okay? Because now you're doing 20 push-ups. Now you're doing 10 pages. Now you're doing, 3 minutes or 4 minutes of silence, of meditation time. Even when things get harder, you can still be consistent. You can still keep your promises to you. All right? So now let's talk about week 4. Same promises, but now life is probably going to throw something at you. Okay? You're going to have a stressful week. You're going to have a sick kid. You're going to be sick. You're going to have a sick spouse. You're going to have a bad day at work, but you're going to keep your promises anyway, because this is what it's all about. Because at the end of week 4, you can look back and you can see week in, week out, I have done this. 28 days of doing push-ups before I get my coffee, of doing, of reading a book, of doing meditation, of doing planks, of whatever it may be, walking around, your sub, or walking around on the trail for 5 minutes. Now it's up to 10 minutes or whatever it may be. You have kept those promises over and over again. And now on the 2nd month, we're adding to it again. We're growing. We're moving forward. Maybe you're ready for some bigger stuff. Hey, let's go to the gym 3 times per week. Maybe you want to cut out alcohol for 30 days. Maybe you want to wake up at 5:30 and, do like a routine in the morning. Maybe you want to start a side business or whatever it may be. But here's the thing. You're a different person than you were 30 days ago. Your mindset's different. You're the guy who keeps his word, and you've got 30 days of proof. I don't care what anybody says. They don't know that you've kept your word for the last 30 days. That's who you are now. That is your identity. And that changes everything. The long-term vision of this is not a 30-day program and you're done. This is how you live. You keep those promises. You make promises, you keep them. Some days it's easy, other days it's hard. Some phases of life are super easy for you to keep. Other phases are going to be really difficult. but now you're a new guy. Now you're the guy who keeps his word. A little bit about myself, and I've talked about this. I've talked about this before, but I have lost trust with myself personally, God, so many times. When I was growing up, I would put together workout programs, or when I was playing sports and in high school and in college, and putting running plans and everything together, and I'd do them for 2 to 3 weeks, and then nothing, and then something would come up, and I wouldn't do it. And then, when I started in my sales career, and I'd have these daily goals and tasks, and I'd do them for a month or so, and then nothing, and then I'd just fall back. And in my mid 30s, I told myself, I'm going to run a marathon. I'm going to run a marathon. And I started training for it, and it never happened. So trust me when I say time and time and time again, like even going through a divorce and after divorce, I'm going to work out. I'm going to lock in at work. And, even this podcast, for crying out loud, this is probably like the fourth or fifth iteration of it, of starting and stopping. So trust me, I get it. I understand it. But one thing you need to understand, it's not how many times you get knocked down. It's how many times you get knocked down and keep getting up afterwards. And I love that. And it's from Rocky. Probably have heard of it. But this is the reason why I think this community is so vital, because that's what I need. I need a community too, because by yourself, there's no accountability. You need to surround yourself with people that understand your struggles, and they will hold you accountable. They will come beside you. They will love you. They will challenge you to be a better man, to be a better version of yourself. Because again, your kids deserve it. Your spouse deserves it. Your community deserves it. So this whole podcast, this whole business idea that I have for this podcast, in all fairness, it's a little selfish of me, because I need a community. And if I want to help build a community, then I better help lead a community. And that's what I'm doing, because I'm on my journey too, just like you. I want to help raise the standard. I want to stop beating myself up over every broken promise that I've had. And I want to give myself permission, and I want to give you permission to dream again, to go after your goals, to show your children that you can fail time and time and time and time again, but you will keep moving forward, because you will fail. If you do anything in life, you will fail. The question is, what are you going to do about it? Are you just going to, it didn't work out, and just move on down the road? Or are you going to pull yourself up by the bootstraps, surround yourself with a community that is in the fight with you, and say, let's figure this out. We're going to win. And that's what we're doing here, to keep moving forward, to raise the standard of men, hold each other accountable, and to grow together. That is the whole vision. That is the whole vision of what I want to accomplish with this podcast, and the coaching and the leadership and the events and everything that we have. That is the focus. All right. This is what we're going to do. We're not going to do this next week. You're not doing, I'll do it next week. I'll start Monday. I'll No. Tonight, today, you are choosing, what are you going to do? What is a micro promise that you are going to keep to yourself? Write it down. Make it laser specific. Don't say, I'm going to work out. What are you going to do? Write it down so it's measurable and specific. Okay? Not, I'm going to have positive thoughts. Nope, doesn't count. Working out. Nope, doesn't count. I'm doing 10 push-ups. I'm reading this book. I'm meditating. I'm praying. I'm, writing a note. I'm doing something. What is it? Under 5 minutes. Tomorrow morning, you're going to wake up, you're going to do it. There's no excuses. There's no, I'll do it later. There's no, oh, it's a snow day. Oh, it's a whatever. It's vacation. Nope. You're going to do it, and you're going to celebrate that small win. And days 2 through 7, you're going to do the same thing every single day. No breaks. No breaks. You don't get a break. No, I'll make it up tomorrow. I'll do 10 push-ups instead of 5 push-ups. Doesn't count. Start over. Every single day. Perfect execution. On day 8. So day 8, after you read this, I want you to send me a message. Send me a message at Fire Iron Show. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. You can send me an email. Go to my website, fireironshow.com, fireironshow.com. Send me a message. What was your micro promise? How did it feel? And did you do it for those days, those 7 days? Did you actually do it? That's what I want to know. Send me a message at Fire Iron Show, either on social or hit up my website and send me a message. I want to hear from you. I do. Because, again, this isn't a one-way conversation. I want this to be a back and forth, a community where we come together and we uplift each other. Now, you're probably thinking, if you're like me, you're like, how is this going to work? It's too simple. 5 push-ups, 10 push-ups, I can knock that out. No big deal. Well, you don't need anything bigger. You need to start simple. Start building a foundation for where you want to go. We'll add weight to it. If it's super easy on the reps, we'll add weight. Don't worry about it. But I need you day in, day out to be consistent. You've been lying to yourself. You have been. You've been breaking promises. And sadly enough, for the most part, you don't trust yourself. This podcast, this episode is geared to help you get back on track. One kept promise at a time, starting today. We're not starting Monday. We're not starting in a week. We're not starting next month. We're not starting when the weather gets nice. We're starting today. Thank you again for listening to Fire and Iron. Make sure you go check out our website, fireironshow.com. If you don't follow us on socials, make sure you check us out, Fire Iron, at Fire Iron, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all the things. Make sure you do this. It's on you. Don't break those promises. Keep your word. Start growing. Start building that trust. And if you haven't listened to episode 7, where we talk about the accountability mirror and the power behind that, make sure you go back and listen to it. And again, thank you. Send me a message with your micro promise. Let me know, what are you committing to? And then on day 8, send me a message. I did it. This is what I committed to, and this is what I did. And let's celebrate together. And I'm here for you. Make sure you again, check us out, fireironshow.com, and we will see you on the next episode.